Hello and welcome to a bonus edition of the Bundesliga show. It's a watch-along for the DFB Pokal quarter-final between Bayer 04 Leverkusen and VfB Stuttgart. As you can see, I'm joined by Peter. Are you excited for this one tonight, Peter? It's going to be a clash of the titans, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You couldn't hope for anything better. DFB Pokal quarterfinals between number 1 in the table, the league leaders, and number 3, the surprise sensations, Stuttgart. It's a little bit late, but we got a cracking match that's going to wake everybody up, no matter what time it is in Central Europe or in the UK.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. So, yeah, as you can see on your screens, we do have the lineups for you. There are possibly a few shocks in there. If I take you through Leverkusen, I think a little bit of a shock that Patrick Schick is back in the lineup as well, in place of Boyer Iglesias. Maybe a minor surprise, but nothing major. But the rest of the team is, as you expect, Tapsoba making his first start since the AFCON. Obviously, he came on Saturday as well, just for a cameo appearance in the last 20 minutes or so. But this is his first start back. Interesting to see that Hincapié, obviously, because Kusunu is still abroad at the minute with Ivory Coast. Obviously, it's going to be interesting to see if he goes straight back into the side as well, isn't it, ahead? Because, Hincapié has been good since... Kusunu went away. But yeah, aside from that, it's as you expect. The likes of Wirtz, Hoffmann, Grimaldo, Xhaka, Frimpong. Obviously, Andrik still replacing Palacios, who is currently sidelined. So, Peter, do you want to quickly talk us through Stuttgart? Any surprises there, or is it as expected, really?
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see. Based on this team sheet, I can't give you a preview of the Stuttgart tactics. I don't know if Undav is going to lead the line as the lead striker, or if it will be Führich or Milo. Of course, Leveling's not in there, so I assume that Undav is going to go ahead and serve as the lead striker, but he did play on the right wing a couple of weeks ago. We'll have to wait and see if it's a back 3 or a back 4. I would probably project a back 3 at this point. There is only one rotation for Hoeneß, and that is another returning player from the Continental Championships. Hiroki Ito is back from his tour of duty with the Japanese national team and back for his first start. Guirassy was eliminated from the Ghanaian, or the Ghanaian national team was eliminated from AFCON as well, but they wanted to take it just a little bit slowly. With the lead striker there. No need to chance anything with Undav playing so well, serving as the player of the week over this past weekend. It's also been reported that Guirassy had some gastrointestinal issues on his way back from the AFCON, so he's not even in the squad tonight. But lots of rotations from Xabi Alonso, 5 of them to be precise, including the keeper, Matej Kovar, who is his designated cup keeper. Generally speaking, Xavi puts his best 11 forward in the league, but this is different. He's rotated in, I think, his better players for this cup, showing that this match is more important to him. And of course, those who are only tangentially following the Bundesliga must absolutely know that we have a monster match coming up this coming Saturday evening. Are we ready to rumble? As the Sportbild says, you can always rely on Peter to bring you the props here. But we are ready to rumble with FC Bayern München versus Bayer Leverkusen this coming Saturday night. So, wow, what more could you possibly ask for? You got the two of the league's biggest sensations head-to-head here in the quarterfinals, ahead of München on the weekend. There's Rory with a 2-2 with VfB on pens. Oh, Rory, why on earth would you do that to yourself?
And then Dave Pearson, also from over the bar, is predicting 4-1 Leverkusen. Alonso is cooking. Yeah, we better get Ballum in the chat as well with that Alonso. Yeah, thanks for your predictions, guys. I mentioned mine on the show last night for any of you guys that watched. So yeah, I actually went for a 3-2 Leverkusen. I think we're due a watch along, which is full of goals. Every time myself and Peter go to games, there's always goals, but the watch along is sometimes lacking in the old goal department sometimes. So yeah, I believe there's got to be goals. We did actually the watch along for the league game of these two sides. It finished 1-1, but it was a real good game to watch, wasn't it? So Peter, what are you going for?
Well, it's possible that these teams may tactically cancel one another out, as we have two of the league's best tacticians here. There's going to be a lot of interesting tactics to talk about, irrespective if we have a lot of goals. But I am going to go for a 2-1 Leverkusen win. Leverkusen have taken the last 3 Pokal meetings against VfB Stuttgart, and I believe that they are the superior team, and that will shine through tonight.
Yeah, interesting prediction. And we are underway in the Bay Arena, obviously Die Werkself against VfB Stuttgart. I mean, the atmosphere looks amazing. The Ultras were singing half an hour before kickoff as I was watching Das Erste coverage. Are you also on Das Erste over there, Peter, or have you got the Sky coverage on?
This time around, I'm on Sky because I'm here in my makeshift office, which is coming together. So if I were in my office up front there with the nicer backdrop with all the books, I would be watching it on Das Erste. But I'm in the back office and I don't have my television hooked up just yet. I'm watching on Sky, so we should see how far behind I am. I'm at 30 seconds. Where are you?
Well, I'm on 1 minute 23 seconds at the minute.
Okay. All right. So it looks like Mark will be leading the play-by-play coverage this evening, and I'll come in behind to maybe talk about some things that Mark didn't catch as the play was unfolding. That's how it goes. What is your prediction for the evening, Mark?
Yeah, I've gone for a 3-2 Leverkusen. I believe that they'll get the job done. But I do think Stuttgart will cause some problems, as they did in the Mercedes-Benz Arena earlier in the season as well, especially in the first half. I mean, Peter, we watched that game, and it should have been 3-0 probably at halftime. I remember that day, Undar missed a few chances as well. But obviously, he's on red-hot form, isn't he? Obviously, with 4 goals in his last 2 games. Just a prediction from Irina as well, saying 3-1 Leverkusen. Yeah, I think everyone goes for Leverkusen apart from Rory. I mean, yeah, Rory, I think you're on your own, my friend.
Well, I should point out that Irina correctly prognosticated the Dortmund-Hoffenheim match that we did a vlog for as well. So she has some excellent predictive power.
Yeah.
She is somebody who you want to go for your tips. I believe she's clairvoyant to a certain extent.
Yeah, and she went 3-1 that day as well to the BVB. Right. So yeah, put your money on it, guys. Get your money on the 3-1 to the Werkself today. But actually, it's Stuttgart who just had a good long ball down the pitch, and it was pretty clumsily defended in the end by Leverkusen. But they look up for it, getting the blocks in early, just as they win a throw very, very deep into the Leverkusen half off Grimaldo. Looks like a real top atmosphere there. So it's always a pity with these watch-alongs that we can't watch with the sound on as well, because obviously it'd interrupt the stream. But I mean, the atmosphere just looks incredible, really, over there in the Rhineland. But yeah, Peter, I mean, what have you made so far? Anything tactically that stands out of the way that the two teams are lining up so far?
It's difficult to tell. I do believe that it almost looks like a 4-1, or excuse me, a 4-1. 4-1 for Stuttgart, although it could be a 4-1-3-2. I think that it's very, very difficult to tell in the early going here. I'm only at 2 minutes and 50 seconds. I'm not seeing a great deal from open play just yet. Interesting you should bring up that watch-along we did in the league, because I thought that was a match which truly just showed the tactical genius of Xabi Alonso, the Spaniard. Particularly when it came to some of the set piece plays that he had. That was just amazing how they were able to orchestrate that comeback. Xabi is the best trainer in the league. We've been saying that since the beginning. We're certainly already missing him. As Peter reaches for another prop here to remind you that El Freunde was picking this absolutely from the very beginning. And wow, I'm awestruck by him. Although Sebastian Hoeneß has done a good job too. He's done a pretty amazing job, as a matter of fact. It makes you forget that tenure that he had at Hoffenheim, a team that no one seems to be able to coach effectively, no matter who they are.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously we weren't the biggest fan of him on the show, and there was surprise, to say the least, when he was appointed. But I mean, how far they've come in what is it, about 10 months now? I think it was the end of February, early March last year when he got the job in Stuttgart. And my God, has he improved them, really. And it was an immediate effect as well. Obviously, they were in terrible relegation trouble until he came in, and he kept them up in the playoff. And yeah, since then, they've just gone from strength to strength, haven't they? The way he's kind of improved players individually, the way he's got them firing, he's found a system which works with them. And it's just been amazing to see, you know. And the football's good to watch as well. Let's remember that. It's not just like 10 men behind the ball, defensive football. It's real good attacking, tactical football. Just as the corner comes in from Leverkusen here, but it's well defended by, I think it's Undav in the end who gets the ball out. Quite nice defending from him. But the ball's back out to Xhaka, who, again, the pressing is very, very heavy from Stuttgart. The Gegen pressing is very, very strong so far. And it's going to be hard, Peter, for Leverkusen to get any space on the ball. And that's something that we saw in the first game, as you say, in that first half. They could not get the foot on the ball the whole 45 minutes. But obviously, as the home team tonight, you would expect them to have more possession. But Peter, do you think Leverkusen will be able to get away with another half as difficult as the first half in Stuttgart tonight?
Well, I mean, it's gotten to the point where, a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about that 0-0 draw with Gladbach and all of the statistics associated therewith, 70 touches in the opponent's area, something like over 1,000 passes played beyond the halfway line, things of that nature. People have been predicting a Leverkusen stumble for a very long time here, and they always seem to defy expectations in that regard. This team certainly has what it takes to remain undefeated through the entire cycle across all competitions, if need be. Right now, it looks to me like Stuttgart are playing things very conservatively. This is a back five, as a matter of fact, if I can put this there. So we're looking at a 5-2-3. I think is Hernes's opening hand of tactics, and they've already caught Leverkusen offside on a couple of occasions. They're going to play this conservatively. They're going to probably swarm over Schick, who has been having some difficulties in recent fixtures. Not that Iglesias was much better. I'm not quite sure if he got his foot around the ball more than 10 times. In the weekend fixture. It's funny, both of these sides, I think they underperformed in their respective weekend fixtures. Stuttgart were playing against a decimated Freiburg, who were actually down to 10 men when Merlin-Röhl was sent off very early at something like the 18th minute. And they still conceded a goal, and they had trouble closing things out against Stuttgart. Leverkusen only beat Darmstadt 2-0. So they had their foot off the gas pedal for a good bit of that game. It was certainly nothing like the 5-0 Leverkusen victory in the Hinrunde. One can tell that both of these teams were saving up some reserves for this match. And although matters are just a little bit cagey here in the opening going, I can see a lot of energy, particularly when it comes to the passing triangles on the Leverkusen left-hand side. That's something that Xavi, well, as a Spaniard, I mean, he, pardon the cliche, but there's going to be some tiki-taka.
Yeah, definitely. We have seen a little bit of that early on, although the first 9 minutes or so passed without any real incident in this game. But as you say, it's a massive game. This, at the end of the day, the winner of this tie is going to be big favourites to lift the Pokal come May. I mean, obviously, Peter's boys, FC Kaiserslautern, are still batting as well. Maybe a return to the. You've got there, Peter. He's got his, what is it? The Betzer hats. Yeah, already in the semi-final. Nice and
safe. Lads may have something to say about that, I tell you.
Yeah.
Don't forget my Betzer heroes.
Yeah. I mean, how comfortable was that? We've not really had much chance to talk about it much, Peter. I mean, how comfortable was that 3-1? I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I expected a tight game, but I mean, it was just a blitzing, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, there was. I really, I mean, the best player on the pitch for Lautern was Marlon Ritter, whom people were. I mean, it was a hyperbole. They were being facetious, but they were comparing him to Toni Kroos and recommending him for the German national team and things like that. This is all sort of an inside joke among Lautern fans. But I mean, he was just incredible in his distribution, and I think that, I mean, he pulled the strings and controlled the game, and wow, I mean, there really wasn't anything to see from Hertha in that tie at all. I mean, until Fabian Rees scored at the very end. I mean, it was about as dominant a victory as one could have expected. I was personally shocked. I mean, particularly considering Lautern's league form as of late. So it was an incredible surprise for fans such as myself.
Goal for Stuttgart. Sorry to bother you, but straight from the corner. Incredible. Anton has headed in. Terrible defender. I think it was Tapsoba who lost his man. And it's a big looping header from the centre-half, Anton. And it's 1-0 to the away side. Incredible. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Peter. But there was debate over whether the corner should have been one anyway. Leverkusen wanted a foul. It was a great ball that came in, but it was Tapsoba who loses his man completely. And Anton, with a really nice header, leaps up above him and loops a header over Kovar for the 1-0 to the away side, Peter. I mean, what a start that is. The first chance of any kind of note. Sebastian Hoeneß is going crazy on the touchline, but just like they did in the Mercedes-Benz Arena, Peter, Stuttgart start well in the Bayer Arena as well.
Oh, yeah, that was horrible marking from Tapsoba, who, by the way, had a terrible end to his Africa Cup of Nations as well. He scored an own goal, somewhat flukish own goal, in the elimination to Silas of Stuttgart, the Congo DR, who are moving forward. Yeah, have you had a chance to look at that replay when Milo earned the corner against, I believe it was Grimaldo?
Yeah, they showed the replay, and it was 50-50, to be honest. Yeah, it did look like a foul initially, but I think Grimaldo was looking for it a little bit as well. So in some ways, you're happy to see referees play on in that case. But I mean, if you're a player for Leverkusen or a Leverkusen fan, you'd be a little bit cheesed off about that one, to be honest. Because I think, what did you think, Peter? Would you say it was a foul or?
I agree with you. It was a 50-50. I mean, I saw it once. I've not seen the replay just yet. But that was, wow, an excellent service that was, and a fine header by Anton right across the face of goal. But yeah, Tapsoba's marking was extremely lax. Someone is having a little bit of an AFCON hangover, and that is unfortunately the state of things. I mean, it's a grueling schedule, tournament football. As anyone who's ever played in a tournament knows. I mean, to play every couple of days is really, really taxing on the body. And Tapsoba went the full 90 minutes for his Burkinabe Stallions in every last instance. So yeah, he didn't have his head quite in the game there, but it was an excellent service, and it was a very, very fine header across the face of goal.
And he made an error there as well. He's given a cheap throw into Stuttgart again, deep in the half, who seem to have got the tactics pretty good so far. But I think, it's one of the issues with the AFCON. You know, I mean, it's one thing the players going away, they miss 3-4 games, but it's also if they have a bad AFCON, then it can ruin the kind of focus and things. That's the problem. And from all accounts, he didn't have the greatest AFCON, Tapsoba, considering the expectation from him and the form that he went in. I mean, they got to the quarter, the last 16, which is maybe a bit disappointing for Burkina Faso, who, have done very well in that tournament in recent years. So I think that is another issue on top of the fact they miss games. They can come back in a different mindset after the tournament. And that seems to be the case for Tapsoba in this first 15 minutes or so.
Well, wait till the South Koreans come back. Did you happen to catch that?
Yeah, that is. I mean, the Asia Cup, what a tournament that is, really. I mean, it's just Qatar winning it last time, and now Jordan in the final. I mean, how? I didn't even know Jordan had a professional team, to be honest with you. That's one hell of a turn up, and I mean, who would bet against the famous Qatar Jordan final then? Because I mean, it's been a crazy tournament. I mean, Peter, you've covered it a lot closer than I have, but I mean, I guess it was a case of no more escape from jails from South Korea, because they've not really been convincing the whole tournament. They needed 3 last-minute goals, was it, just to stay in it until this round? And then you think, okay, they've got a good semi-final draw there against Jordan, and they get stuffed, basically, didn't they?
Well, there were 4 goals in the Nachholspielzeit in added extra time for Korea. Oh God, the roller coaster was insane. I mean, I imagine that Min Jae Kim and Lee Jae Sung are all, wow, that was an excellent piece of defending. I'm just catching up on there from Ito, who also had a disappointing tournament for the Japanese national team, but he seems to be quite on the level today. It was Ito, it was reported, turned down a big money move to Saudi Arabia during the transfer window that just closed to stay with Stuttgart. There was, I think it was Al Nasser that offered up 30 million to activate his release clause, but he decided to stay with in Swabia and perhaps contend for the Champions League next year. An excellent break there from Speedy Führich. I imagine nothing has happened. Otherwise, I would have I would have heard from you, Mark. Yeah. A good cross in there for okay. So Kovar is also warmed up and ready to go here. Yeah, I mean they've got to be mentally exhausted. I don't think you're going to see Min Jae Kim. Well, Min Jae Kim didn't play today because he was suspended. But Lee Jae Sung from Mainz, I think they're going to give him an extra week off. And probably Woo Young Jung for Stuttgart as well. I mean, they have been the South Korean team. They were nicknamed the Zombies in the tournament because you couldn't kill them off. And Jürgen Klinsmann was very, very fond of that nickname, and he accepted that. But after the performance that I watched today, good God, it was horrible. I mean, they're the Zombies. They were they were put to death this time. I don't. How does one finally kill off a zombie? It depends on which zombie movie you're talking about, but either with fire or pool of blood if it's a Resident Evil video game. But in any case, the Zombies have gone the way of Dolores O'Riordan. Apologies to the Cranberries fans out there
Yeah, heard a lot of them in Dublin as well over the weekend, to be honest.
Oh, really?
But yeah, pretty much every second song was the Cranberries, in truth. Yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy few weeks of football. It really has. Just as Leverkusen is starting to put a bit of pressure on, but Anton seems to be having one of those days at the minute. Like nothing gets past him. He had a good game as well, in large parts against Freiburg with that assist as well for the first goal. So he's a man on form at the minute. And Stuttgart seem to have a system here. They are sitting deep, but we know that they are a side that can counter very fast as well. They've got a lot of pace in the side, and they're just playing with so much confidence at the minute, really. And although it's going to be a book, bad tackle from behind there has ended up with a booking for Andrik, Mr. A man who is no shy to a yellow or even a red card. He comes right through the back of Karatsaw, and he's got himself a deserved booking for that challenge. Yeah, I mean, so far, so good for Stuttgart. It just depends whether they can keep this level up because, and also whether they can, deal with any potential tactical tweaks from the master of tactical tweaks himself, Xabi Alonso, later on in the game. But Xabi, just a bit of a close-up of Xabi there. He looks a little bit worried there on the touchline, Peter, and for good reason, I think.
A man with such a perfectly chiseled chin, perfectly accentuated by the stubble that he wears, freaking George Michael stubble. He has nothing to be afraid of. Well, what I would be concerned about if I were Xabi is that I just got a look on the overhead tactical cam at Stuttgart's shape, and it's about as clear a 5-4-1 as I've ever seen. They're on lockdown now. Now we can bring up that league watch along again as well and say perhaps that's a mistake. But they're going to go ahead and absorb the pressure here and see if Leverkusen can run themselves ragged. Maybe not the best tactic at this juncture because, Xabi did rotate in 5 fresh players. So, I mean, and yeah, I just saw that shot of him on the bench there having a chat with his assistants about potential tactical tweaks. Bundesliga tactics heads across the Bundesrepublik. We could stand to have a cam that focuses almost exclusively on Xabi because what he does is he has like this little slip of paper, a little buck slip that he always hands to whoever is donning the captain's armband for the day. And most of the time it's Granit Xhaka, who he wants to move around a little bit. So we're always keeping an eye on that buck slip. Is Xabi Alonso? Who's he going to hand? When's he going to hand the buck slip? And he doesn't generally make tactical tweaks until, say, the final 20 minutes of the match. He lets them play, he observes them, then he decides what he wants to do, which is another reason why he's such an amazing head coach. And yeah, well, it's going to suck to lose him, but what can you say? It's the nature.
You never know. Yeah, I mean, if they do the season unbeaten, then maybe he'll say, he wants to stay and give it another year there. Who knows? We got to hope.
Well,
but yeah, questioning from Ballum as well. Yeah, so who would Peter like in the semi-final for FC Car? Peter, who would you like to see? Do you fancy a semi-final against one of these two sides, or would you prefer a Dusseldorf or maybe even a Saarbrücken?
Well, a Leverkusen one would be historically very cool because there is something of a rivalry between Lautern and Leverkusen due to the 1996 relegation. Lautern were relegated on the final day of the season when Rudi Völler's Leverkusen actually won. And that was one of the most heartbreaking nights in the history of all Lautern fans. I myself was just a little boy, and it took me many, many years to get over that, despite the fact that they did win the Pokal that year, despite being relegated, and then got promoted back to the Bundesliga and won the next year, something you'll never, ever see again. So perhaps we should be grateful to Leverkusen, but that was there's always been sort of a little bit of bad blood there between the two real diehard ultra groups of Lautern and Leverkusen. So that would be a nice little bit of history there. I'd also like to see Leverkusen advance because another reason why they have the Vizekusen, the English translation being Neverkusen, a mantle is, not only were they like 5 times runners-up in the league, but they've been runners-up in the Pokal 3 times as well. Stuttgart have won the Pokal 3 times, and they've been Pokal finalists 3 times, twice in the last 15 years. The last time that Stuttgart won the Pokal was 97, the year of the Lautern championship. That was Freddy Bobic and Joachim Löw as the head coach of Stuttgart. That was it's an interesting little piece of history for you there. And then they got there again with the Wild Boys in 2007, and they got there again, I think, in 2013 with that was the year of like the Bayern triple. So they got their asses handed to them in the final. But yeah, I mean, it would be something rather unique. Although Leverkusen, they did reach the final in 2020, the COVID year.
Yeah. And they got stuffed by Bayern, I think. By the way, just to stop you there, we are going to have a VAR check for a potential Leverkusen penalty here as well. Frimpong was fouled by Ito. The referee says he got the ball, but he's given a corner. I think it's possible. This looks like a 50-50 to me. Maybe he's trying to buy it, but there was contact from Ito on Frimpong. It's going to be interesting to see what's given here. Mm-hmm. This could potentially be 2 controversial decisions going against Leverkusen in this one if this is not looked at. So just stay with me.
Like an awesome tackle to me, based on I just saw it in real time. That looks like an excellent tackle to me. Yeah. But I have to.
It does. I would agree. I think it's not been given. By the way, they checked and they've not given it. And Peter seems to think that was a definite correct decision. I would say more of a 70-30 in favor of no penalty as well. Really, I think it would have been soft. But I mean, if you're a Leverkusen fan, you're going to be, a couple of decisions, like kind of half decisions, have gone against you so far. But I mean, yeah. What do you think, Peter? Was there a call for a penalty there, or?
Well, in super slow-mo, I don't know if he got his foot around the ball there, but I think the VAR check's over, and it is no.
Yeah, penalty. It's over. Yeah, nothing was given.
So he missed the ball, but he was clearly playing the ball, and he might have gotten the slightest touch on it with one of his spikes. But that was, I mean, that was what you would call in German a Monstergrätsche, or a monster tackle.
Just as some really bad goalkeeping there, Kovar gives the ball to Undav, who finds, I think it's Karazor, and a poor finish really there with a massive chance for 2-0 there. I mean, obviously this is probably Kovar's biggest game. He's looked good in the games that he's played before this, but so far he looks a little bit hesitant when given the ball to play out from the back, I would say. And this is by far the biggest match that he's played. As I say, most of the other games have been against the likes of, teams lower in the Pokal, like Liga teams, or maybe also some Europa League teams. And I think he's had, 2 starts in the league now. So, yeah, I think he is a player that's got a lot of potential, and he's not conceded a lot of goals at all in the games he has played. But that was pretty poor keeping there, wasn't it, Peter?
I wonder if it's Xabi's call or not to have Kovar as the Cup / Europa League keeper, if that's something that Bayer management is pushing for, because they know that Hradečky he's well past his prime, and they've been trying to get a new goalkeeper in there. I think that there was this Austrian kid Penke who they weren't really pleased with his progress, so they ended up loaning him out to Denmark and brought in Kovar as the keeper of the future. It's odd in German football. I mean, some coaches are very strict about having a cup keeper, and others not. And in many cases, it's also the club management that's looking to the future. How is it in England? I mean, is it typical to have a cup keeper?
Yeah, very typical. Yeah, because the teams play so many games over there that, if you've got 2 or 3 keepers on your books, then you have to give them game time, because they can't just warm the bench for the entire season. You know what I mean? So obviously, I think with the fact there are 3 cups, then most big teams, at least, they give the backup goalkeeper the FA Cup and the League Cup, and sometimes Champions League group games as well. That's also possible. Especially against some of the weaker teams in the group stage. So that means that the backup keeper gets at least 8-10 games a season, and keeps them active in case of injuries. So it's very, very normal. At least the big teams always give the backup keepers games, and also I guess they've got to promise some games too, because most footballers, they want to play. I mean, if you were just sitting on the bench the entire season, you get tired of that eventually. So, and I think this is something that Bundesliga teams do a little bit more now as well. Since I've been covering the Bundesliga closely, this seems to have become more of a thing with the big Bundesliga teams as well. Whereas I would say in the past, it didn't seem to be that much of a thing as much.
Well, the reason Alexander Nübel is playing for Stuttgart right now is because, when he signed for Bayern from Schalke, he didn't get many. Well, of course, Bayern got eliminated in the cup in the second round that year. But, he also, we figured, I think, his agent, he was guaranteed 5 starts or something like this behind Manuel Neuer. And when he was not given that, there was this whole saga and the extended loan out to Monaco. And, that's why Stuttgart have, and I think in large part, Nübel has been quite good this season. I really like the way he directs play out of the back in the short passing game. In most cases, he's had his howlers as well. I mean, of course, he's a keeper that really is under the microscope of everybody in Germany as we try to figure out what the future of our national team is after our inevitable Euro embarrassment over the summer. But I mean, that's the reason that Nübel is playing for Stuttgart, is because he didn't get the promised number of deployments. And actually, if you remember in Stuttgart last year, I mean, of course, it was a season of how many train? I mean, they started with Matarazzo, Michael Wimmer was interim, then Labadia, then Hoeneß. Bredlov was the cup keeper until Hoeneß came in and did he start in that Nuremberg match? I don't remember. Was it?
No, I think it was Muller. I think they kind of flitted between Florian Muller and Bredlov, I think, but neither of them were anywhere near decent. Let's say that much. I think, it was a dreadful. They've had 2 dreadful years actually with goalkeepers, Stuttgart. Since obviously Kobel obviously was the last very good keeper they had, and they had 2 seasons of complete disaster with keeper. For me, that was one of the main reasons why they were so far down the league, actually, because there was a stage when they couldn't go a game without at least one goalkeeping howler, basically, from those 2. Just another poor clearance as well from playing out the back from Kovar, who looks a little bit nervous today, but he gets lucky and the move eventually ends in a strike from Grimaldo, who sails it way over. But Kovar is a bit of a worry at the minute because he's not playing out of the back well at all. And Stuttgart, they commit so many men forward in those kind of positions that there are men. Undav is doing really well. He's full energy all the time. he's been really impressive in the game. We have had a couple of bookings. Well, I don't know if we mentioned them, but Maximilian Mittelstädt was also booked a few minutes ago as well for a stamp on frimpong. But yeah, I mean, the game's really nicely poised. I mean, it is Leverkusen getting most of the play, but so far, Stuttgart's defense is standing up really well. And, they look a confident side who believe they can win this game. But I mean, the tick-attacker is well and truly there. We've just seen some brilliant play. Even Robert Andrik was getting involved with the tick-attacker there. So, I mean, that probably doesn't happen that often, but it's been a great game to watch. But again, good defending from Wagner there as well. He looks to play it out ahead of brilliant play from Wagner as well there, who's been, he's a fantastic player as well. Crazy to think that he couldn't even get on the team last year, isn't it, as well, under Labadia. I mean, what a player he is as well. Well, all looking quite good so far for the away side.
He was returning from injury, but I think we might have mentioned, that was like one of the big things on our weekly review shows. I think we mentioned the fact that Waldemar Anton had no business playing right back 5,437 times. I mean, that was, we absolutely, that was Labadia's, that's probably the end of Labadia's career. I don't anticipate anybody hiring him ever again for a long time. Maybe he comes in to serve as a Feuerwehrmann.
Yeah. Well, I think we've lost you there, Peter. Yeah, just to check on a few.
I've not. Have you seen one dribble from Wirtz this entire?
No, he's been struggling.
What is going on with Flo? He seems not to be getting any touches in, and when they do have a close up on him, he looks pretty gassed already. What's going on there?
Yeah, well, I think he was one of their better players against Darmstadt as well. As you mentioned, it was a pretty ordinary performance against Darmstadt, but he did get a good assist in that game as well. And I thought he was quite good in the match. But yeah, you're right. There's actually Leverkusen look a little bit frustrated tonight, actually, in some ways. I think Grimaldo as well has not had his kind of best game, and he's going down easily quite often. And, it seems though the Stuttgart side, they know how to get under to frustrate this Leverkusen Werkself outfit. I mean, obviously we saw it a lot in the previous game in December as well. And so far in this first half, it's been a different kind of match. It's been a match where Leverkusen have dominated possession, but it's also been a very competent first half so far from the away side in this match. And I think that's probably the best way to beat Leverkusen. You've just got to keep frustrating the key players, and so far they managed to do that. Grimaldo, Wirtz have not had the best days. We've already mentioned Kovar and Tapsoba making individual errors as well. So, Peter, I mean, if you're Stuttgart right now, how would you be feeling? And would you change anything, or is it a case of just keep doing what you're doing, basically?
Given that we could go 120 minutes here, you can't really risk a personnel change at the half. I don't think so. Stuttgart are still holding that 5-4-1. Last I saw on the overhead tactical cam, so they are playing rather conservatively. I don't know if that's necessarily Hoeneß's intent, because he's whistling pretty hard there on the sidelines as well. It's very, very difficult for Stuttgart to get anything going offensively when the Leverkusen back three or Kovar are not making a mistake here. A lot of long vertical balls. Jonathan Tah, who is a player whom, I know that we've mentioned him before many, many times about how he's really turned his career around and his form around. I've seen him make some excellent towering headers away. He could be mistaken for John Anthony Brooks in this game. John Anthony Brooks on a good day. And I'm biased, of course. There doesn't seem to be a lot going on here in terms of the Stuttgart build-up play and attack approach. Like I said, a lot of long verticals, and it's very, very tough to get the ball forward to Undav out of this 5-4-1. And then in terms of Leverkusen, I don't, why are Wirtz and Hoffmann they don't really seem to be involved. I mean, we've got a lot of action going on with Frimpong and Grimaldo, but this front three of Leverkusen, they're just being so boxed out, I think, by this and smothered by this back five that they can't really get into the game. You know, all we've seen is that Grimaldo effort flashed over, and that's pretty much it, unless I missed something.
Yeah. And talking to men that are frustrated, Frimpong as well had just gone into the book by lambasting the linesman as well for an offside decision, although he's done well to win the ball back there. He's another man who looks frustrated, though, which, you know, Jabi actually seemed to remonstrate with his own player there as well for the reaction. So, you know, he clearly realizes that, you know, they're going overboard at the minute. This is where the likes of Granit Xhaka and probably Robert Andrich as well need to get hold of some of these younger guys and just say, calm down, guys, you know, because Leverkusen, obviously, they realize that this is a massive match, but they are frustrated at the minute. And at the end of the day, even in the previous game, they never got frustrated, even though Stuttgart were really handing it to them for periods in that match, and they showed maturity in that particular day. But maybe they've got a bit too big for the boots, things are looking at the minute, because they feel as though they shouldn't be losing this game. Maybe they feel as though a few decisions have gone against them as well. That can always be frustrating.
I mean, Joshua Wagnermann just body checked Frimpong off the ball, ice hockey style. I mean, you know, and yeah, I think he showed excellent composure, as you pointed out, to win the ball back there. That was quite good. As we see, well, I suppose you would let me know if something came of this counter. Oh, what a terrible touch that was from Fury! What a lead-footed first touch that was. Well, yeah, I mean, emotions are running high, obviously, with everything that's at stake here, and that's perfectly normal for such a game. I don't know if Robert Andrich or Granit Xhaka are the type to calm other players down, as quite excitable himself, as we know, and Xhaka. It depends on the day. You know, he can have a moody day too. He's kind of got like some Jens Lehmann hormones within him, if I may say so. I mean, I've seen him have cranky days before. I mean, most of the time he's a consummate professional and really just an incredible player. We're so happy to have him in the league. Wish he would score a little bit more often so I could see him flash that eagle, the Albanian eagle sometimes. As we see, is that Milo who's down?
Yeah, it is indeed. Yeah, it's the game's quite bad tempered at the minute. He is just going off at the minute. I presume he looks well enough to continue, but I think they are going to double check on that as he moves to the sideline. It was Andrich again who came through the back. He is on a booking, don't forget, as well. So he is a man. I mean, I said before he's a man that needs to calm people down, but yeah, I mean, he could quite easily be the man that's getting the early bath in a minute if he carries on in the same vein. But I mean, yeah, this is a game it's not looking good currently for Leverkusen. Another thing I wanted to mention, Peter, that's kind of come to my attention in this game, and also pretty much every game since the Rückrunde started. I mean, the centre forward position for Leverkusen. I mean, Schick has not been impressive at all in this game. As you mentioned, Iglesias didn't exactly look amazing either. This is a position that almost seems to be getting bypassed by Leverkusen at the minute. They go so wide, and you know they've got these fantastic attacking midfielders who can create things themselves, but they go so much through Frimpong and Grimaldo that almost the striker is quite easy to defend against at the minute for the against Leverkusen. And is that a concern? Because at the end of the day, can you win a Bundesliga title with no top level striker? Obviously, we know that Boniface is injured until April. So, Peter, is that something that you've noticed as well about the kind of lack of a striker really at times, and lack of usage of the striker in the games? Or do you think it's just maybe a tactical tweak?
I mean, Boniface was so much more than a traditional classic target number 9. I mean, he held the ball up well and dropped deep. I mean, of course, let's not forget that. Oh God, what a horrible effort that was from Götze. Let's not forget that when we did the back-to-back Leverkusen watchalongs against Dortmund and against Stuttgart. I mean, I think it was in the Dortmund match that we were calling for Schick?
Yeah. And it did well. It worked out in that particular game.
It worked out incredibly well. I think that Schick, after his long injury layoff and his groin problems, which no man.
1-1, Paddy Schick, but he's given it offside. Oh, it's offside. But wait,
let's have
I'm
a look here.
100% sure. Peter knows that I'm a decent judge whether something's offside after the Harry Kane situation.
How did you? Yeah,
It was Paddy Schick, incredibly, who found the back of the net with a confident finish, but it was offside. He was offside. Yeah, that's the issue with Schick. He does struggle to get back at times, and he has been caught already a few times in this game. It looked like it was 1-1, but the goal has been ruled out correctly in this case.
Yeah.
Remain 1-0 ahead, Peter.
Yeah, he was off. Yeah, he could. Well, I mean, what I was saying is that Schick was obviously, he was pumped full of adrenaline after that long injury layoff because of groin problems, which is something no man wants to ever deal with in his life. That's the worst injury you can possibly have. And he was so excited, he was so cracking, and I think that overrid the fact that he's not necessarily the best fit as a striker for this team in those initial weeks, because he really did look good. He got off to an excellent start, both in terms of his body language and his posture and what he was doing on the score sheet. It's not, this team isn't necessarily built to whip in crosses. It's built to with the Xabi triangles, it's sort of built to manufacture goals with some slickness up there. And there has been a little bit of a drop in form for Wirtz. I don't know why as of late. But when he's on, of course, he can manufacture those goals, and you can get more poachers goals from your striker.
Just to stop you there, the free kick is coming in for Leverkusen, by the way. If Grimaldo in range, just stay with me for this before we go back to Peter. But it's a good position. It was a really well-spotted foul by the referee as well, who's had a brilliant game, by the way. And it comes in. Oh, it's saved. It looked good. It beat the wall, and it's well saved by Nubel there. They get it away for a throw-in. But, yeah, Peter, back to you on that. Sorry.
Well, I'll have a look here. Was it I don't even know who took it yet. If it was Grimaldo, I wouldn't be surprised. Xabi really was. Yeah. How many set piece goals does he have this season?
Oh, ridiculous numbers. 6, 7. And assists, he's already up to almost double figures. So it's just ridiculous numbers for a left back,
Well, that was an excellent save too. He bent it around the wall beautifully. That's something that you. Oh God, how many times, the amount of practice that goes into something like that. But it was an excellent save from Nubel too, who didn't do a bad job of setting up the wall. Speaking of Grimaldo, he's been one of Xabi's pet projects, particularly, how he has him working on the training pitch as his dead ball taker. Maybe we should give Iglesias a little bit of time, because he is a Spanish international after all. He didn't get a lot of playing time for club this season, but prior to that, he was scoring double digits in La Liga for 3 consecutive seasons. Xabi, I think, knows how to bring the best out of his countrymen, so we give him a little bit of time there. I don't know, I can't really decide what kind of striker Iglesias is, because I haven't seen much of him. Schick is clear. He's a tall, lanky target forward. Boniface is definitely a target forward. He's also, just a big battering ram, a big bull, as you would call him in German.
Just as he almost scores again. Actually, good play from Wirtz for the first time in the match. And again, this is what having a decent goalkeeper can do for a team. Nubel saves well from the good improvisation by Paddy Schick, actually, there as well. But 2 good saves really in 5 minutes. Just as oh wow, what a run this is! It Mittelstädt. Wow, he's absolutely flown forward there, gone past about 5 players, and he's put his team in a good position. He almost went too fast for his teammates, though, because there wasn't really anyone up. But they've done well to recycle the ball, and now it's he has stayed down after what he claimed was a foul, but Stuttgart had possession for the first time in the Leverkusen half in quite a while in this game, but they maintain it well here.
That was a horrible pass from Wirtz off the short corner. Really. I think it was Führig who tore up, not Mittelstädt. But
was it Führig? Sorry, yeah.
Führig was that was Mittelstädt on the underlap. if I'm not mistaken.
Well, wow, this is becoming a really good game now. A high quality match, and the both Leverkusen haven't been bad. They've had like probably 3-4 chances, but as you say, I mean, Nubel is a good goalkeeper. He's made some good saves. Another thing I want to mention about this game, I mean, I'm not sure the last time I remember a better refereeing performance than this in a first half of football. Really, the referee has seen everything, absolutely everything. He's controlled the game with quality, with confidence. And, I think I mentioned a few weeks ago that refereeing is dead, but not by this refereeing performance. Because I don't know if you agree with me, Peter, but it's something that really stood out to me. I think he's shown ball, he's shown quality, and he's spotted everything, like every little touch, every little thing he's spotted for me. What do you think, Peter? Have you been impressed with his performance too? Or?
Well, what's happening, Mark, is you're becoming more German. I mean, the English side of you wants to, referee. But the Germans, as you know, we grade our referees, and if they have a bad performance, we're not shy about telling them that, and we're not shy about censuring them. But we also have a lot of respect for them. That's why. Did you ever give that ARD? You can find it in the Mediathek, the Unparteiisch one. That's
no, I've not seen it yet, but I definitely do plan on watching it.
Yeah. So I mean, look, our referees are. Look, the fact that Felix Birch is starting training is news in Germany. Would that be news in England? If oh God, I don't think I can name an English referee anymore now that Mark.
The only thing we want to do in England is, as you say, criticize them, shout abuse at them, and criticize their physical shape as well. Which, to be honest, is sometimes questionable for a professional sportsman, effectively as well. But they do get a lot of criticism in England, but here in Germany, you have a different approach to your referees, and in some ways I like it, but sometimes I do miss the good old referee chants as well. Just as Stuttgart come away again here. But I do miss that again. I've only seen it once or twice in my life, in all the games I've been to in Germany, where the fans have really just given hell to the referee. One of them was when Nuremberg ended up with 9 men against Darmstadt a couple of years ago. And yeah, but in general, Germans are a little bit more respectful to the refs. They do criticize them if they are really poor, but not as much as in England, where the referee is just a fruitless task, really. You just can't win over there. You can have the best game ever, and you'll still have fans shouting, you don't know what you're doing and things. So, yeah.
I think Daniel Schlager is the referee of this, and he's one that I always actually respect. I respect most of the German referees. That's not to say that they don't. I mean, look, there are instances in which the ref has a bad game and they get death threats and things like this. This is not, I mean, we don't put them up on a pedestal hugely, but in large part, I mean, there's a serious amount of respect for the referees. Also, I don't know if this is the case in England, but the German refs, particularly the top flight refs, are subject to rigorous physical examinations on an annual or semi-annual basis. So, for example, it was a huge controversy that Manuel Gräfe was forced to retire, at the age of like 44, 45, because he was too old. And there were a lot of Germans who were really, really upset about losing Manuel Gräfe, as a referee, and they were mad at the DFB for not allowing him to, for being too harsh on him for his fitness tests and things like this. I don't, it's been a little while since I focused on referees in the Premiership. I mean, there's the famous ones like Mark Clattenburg, the guy with the German name, or who's the one who's married to Bibiana Steinhaus? I think that's.
Oh, is it Howard Webb? Is it
Howard
Michael
Webb?
Oliver? Michael Oliver, I think it is.
I think it's Webb.
Is it Webb? Yeah. Webb was the name that came to mind. Just as a great ball in. Oh, and it's Paddy Schick has miscontrolled it. Oh no. Was it Paddy Schick who missed? No, it was Wirtz, actually, who badly miscontrolled there when put away with a really good ball. He looks frustrated. There were a few incidents there as we were talking about referees that happened. Ito smashed a shot that right into the side netting from a good position, which was unlucky, and a good ball came in from the other side too, which just missed Undab. And then that ball, where probably one of the better balls that Leverkusen have played, couldn't quite spot who played it, but Florian Wirtz miscontrolled, and it is Half-time, Stuttgart are leading 1-0. I'll just put that up on the scores for you as well, guys. But yeah, just to come to a few comments as well, because we have seen quite a lot of really nice comments in as well during the break. Yeah, I love this one from Ballum. Cardi B? No. Mark B? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, loving that one from Ballum. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah. Do you want it to go to penalties today? Well, yeah, I think everyone loves a penalty shootout, and I think we've only ever covered one on Over the Bar before, and that was the famous one when Frankfurt beat Rangers in the Europa League final a few years ago, and we got a great result for the Bundesliga in that one. So, Peter, would you be happy for a 3-hour epic and go to penalties tonight? Or?
I mean, yeah, of course. You know, there were plenty of games at the AFCON and AFC that I wish hadn't have gone to penalties because I was quite tired and I wanted to go to bed. Yeah. But this is not the case when it comes to a DFB Pokal quarterfinal. It's quite different. It really is. Yeah. Actually, I'm glad you brought up Ito. I have been extremely impressed with him. As a matter of fact, the Japanese Hajime Moriyasu's Samurai Blue, they played a rather good tournament. Were rather unfortunate to be eliminated. It was actually, Ko Itakura who made the fatal error and the fatal mistake. So. That's a shame.
And then another question for you, Peter, as well. Who does Peter see winning? Mainz and Union Berlin. Yeah, must win for Mainz. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'm going to be at the match, and Mark and I were discussing doing some filming. Now, by the way, let me put my Betze hat on again. I'm a Lautern boy, so Mainz are some of our big rivals. But in the interest of showing what a great carnival atmosphere exists there in Mainz, particularly around this time of year, I'll be going. And I have friendly relationships with some Mainz fans. Some of my Lautern compatriots won't necessarily appreciate that, but I mean, as Mark, he's a diehard Nuremberg fan as well, but he can appreciate the Kleeblatt. We'll show you how he can appreciate that in a little while. I mean, there's rivalries on match days, but you can appreciate what each club has to offer. This is a fascinating match, Mainz versus Union tomorrow, on so many levels, because what we saw from Mainz this weekend is that they immediately threw Nadia Amiri and Jessica Gerkam into the lineup, and they moved Jonathan Burkhardt and Karim Onisiwe out to the wings. And so Jan Sievert was absolutely desperate to get something going for this time, and they played horrible. What was the headline? There was a great headline in the was it the Süddeutsche? Yeah. Klempner ohne Werkzeugkasten. I'll translate this for you really quickly. So basically, these are it's highly specialized German vocabulary, but they describe Mainz. A rough translation would be like a craftsman without tools. They were so bad, and Mark and I were talking on the prediction show that we both said, "Oh, Mainz not going to get relegated. Mainz not going to get relegated." I don't know. After what I saw there, I mean, they just signed Jan Sievert, as their permanent head coach. What? That was. I mean, how the hell are you going to throw 2 immediate transfers in there? They had maybe 1.5 training sessions, and immediately they formed the backbone of the team. So and Miri didn't play all that poorly, and neither did the double six pairing of Kraus and Barrero. But good God, and Gankam was totally lost. Burkhardt and Onisiwo were out of position. I mean, what could you do? And God, it was a terrible football match from Mainz. So it is a must-win for them, as Baum correctly points out. And then we have Union, who have their own problems right now. Considering the fact that they can't get their trainer back on the bank after that suspension that he incurred for slapping Leroy Sané, and they're also looking desperate. I mean, they threw Vertessen right into the lineup straight away, and that didn't work, And then Benedikt Hollerbach is proving that he ain't no holla back guy. So. these are two teams that are really, they got their backs against the wall, and it's going to be a huge match for the relegation race. Because I mean, I think, I like Mainz at home. Ordinarily, they don't perform that poorly at home. They were terrible on Saturday, but I think, they probably bounce back and they take that point off of Union, and then the relegation race gets very, very interesting, because we also had Köln win this weekend out of nowhere. So we all of a sudden, it was looking like the relegation race was going to, that the teams were going to separate. We weren't going to have much of one this year. All of a sudden, I think we're going to get one, and I think that it's going to be very, very interesting. I think some teams that we didn't think were going to factor in, two of them being Mainz and Union, are going to actually factor in. That would be my prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned yesterday, I think we did a prediction for this game. I went for 1-0 Union, and I said after the game against Werder, that was my I've given up on Mainz, basically. I mean, I've been saying all season that they can't go down. The fact they played so poorly in that game against a disciplined Werder side, who's starting to learn to win away from home now as well. But I mean, the fact that they were so poor in that game, and also the fact they've given Sievert the full-time job, for me, I would have gone the other way, and I'd be looking to get shut of him, because the performances haven't been that bad, but they just not scored goals under him at all. I mean, they've scored less goals by average under him than they did under Svensson in the first part of the season. And I mean, if you look at the number of goals they've scored in recent weeks, it's scary. It's absolutely scary. Like, they've scored 2 in the last 6 games, 2 in 6, and you just can't stay up with that. In fact, they've scored 3 in 9, 3 goals in 9 games. I mean, since that 2-0 win against Leipzig, they've not won in 9, and they've only scored 3 goals in those 9 fixtures. I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's absolutely horrendous. In the Bundesliga as well, which is well known for goals and great attacking play, I mean, it's just absolutely, it's scary for them. And I think if they don't beat Union, then I'm going to cast them off as relegated, to be honest. I really am, because I just think you can't just turn it on after just no attack the whole season. And, we don't know what's happened to a Jork. Johnny Seawo doesn't seem to be working at the minute either. I mean,
he just threw them back on the wings like an afterthought. I mean, he put absolutely no thought into his pre-match planning. You could tell that. He was just like, I'm going to take my striker tandem, and here, you guys can move down to the wings to the second axis. I mean, it's just, and they had no idea what they were doing. I mean, it was like, let's try to come up with a humorous example here or something like that. I don't know, throwing a...
And as you say, I mean, sticking in Gangcam straight in the, and Gangcam has just not looked convincing at all anywhere he's played, really. But I know he's a young man, he's got time to improve, but he's not the kind of guy that's going to come in and save you from relegation. I mean, Amiri's another one. I mean, his career has completely nosedived, basically, from where he was 2-3 years ago. So he had a failed spell in Italy last year, and then he got one start. Ironically, he started the week before he left the club in Leverkusen, which was a little bit weird as well in many ways. But obviously that was more due to injuries and AFCON departures as well at that time. But yeah, it's a hard time for Mainz. Union, it's not much better either, but they're probably looking a little bit better, because at least they scored the occasional goal, and they've got a strong home form as well. But they obviously lost Behrens as well, which is a worry, because I thought he looked really good on debut for Wolfsburg too. And, he's a man that they will miss.
A lot of the things that we were sharing a laugh about, and I'm glad you guys covered this on the show. It's like, we're like the German refs. We're happy to let you know when we're wrong. But a lot of the things that Mark and I were sharing a laugh about on the Thursday prediction show, like Kevin Behrens, like Jan Thielmann, they ended up, proving us wrong, which is, I mean, well, that's the beauty of football and sport in general, of course, that being proven wrong. I mean, no fun if you're right all the time.
It is, and it's almost nice to be wrong sometimes, because it proves how unpredictable football is. But just another little point. Obviously, there's still another 5 minutes of half time to go as well. But another interesting point raised by Balam as well about FC Schalke 04. Financially, there's been a bit of news coming out the last week or two that they're struggling financially, which is not really a surprise considering they've spent 2 of the last 3 years in this fight of Bundesliga, and obviously near the bottom of that league as well, and not completely out of relegation trouble yet. There have been some reports like over the footballing world. If they, basically, I guess what you're saying, if they go down to the third league, then it could be the end of the club. I mean, Peter, have you heard anything more about that, or what do you think about the situation Schalke find themselves in right now?
Oh, they've been in financial trouble since the pandemic. And look, the third league is not. I mean, now that we have a Dritte Liga, it's not the end of a club. And I say that as a Lautern fan who had to suffer through a couple of years in the Dritte Liga. I mean, when there was no Dritte Liga, which was only founded in 2008, when they went down to the Regionalliga, then you have a semi-pro team, and it's very, very difficult to get back up. So no, but Dritte Liga is not the end. We were joking, Mark and I were, when we were getting together last weekend, about how Köln, with his transfer ban, could get sent down to the third tier as well. And, it's quite possible that Lautern don't quite make it either, and they go right back down if the league form doesn't improve. So, I mean, there's plenty of traditional clubs that can do the whole fallen giant thing in the Dritte Liga and then get back on the feet. It's not the end of the club by any stretch of the imagination. Did I ever tell the anecdote about Schalke during the pandemic? Where
I don't remember that one. No.
Yeah, I mean, I might have, but it's sports broadcasting. You can't be afraid of repeating yourself. As the great Derek Ray always said. He also said, if you think you're saying the score too many times, you're wrong. But what was hilarious during the pandemic is that, I mean, obviously you had these Geisterspiele, right? So Schalke, they were so broke that they sent their season ticket holders a letter. And this was in 2020, mind you. In 2020, they said, we can refund you for your season tickets on January 1st, 2023.
Wow. And did they ever refund them? Do you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, what, in Deutschmarks, not in Euros, in Deutschmarks.
Yeah.
So, and then they had like this little addendum that was attached to it. It was like, now, of course, you can get your refund earlier, but we just need a little bit of information from you. You had to fill out this huge form about why you needed the refund quickly, which is a horrible thing to do. It's freaking Gelsenkirchen, all right? For God's sakes, these people are like, it's like industrial north of England. They don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And, I mean, Jesus, it was shameless.
Yeah, it's a club. Yeah, obviously the coal miners. A lot of their fans come from the coal mining backgrounds and stuff. And I don't think they would have been overly impressed with that. But these people will do anything for the club, though. I'm pretty sure they will starve for the club because their fans are just insane. Basically, like they're known to have some of the best fans in all of Europe, let alone in Germany. I mean, their fans are incredible. But yeah, it is sad. It is sad in some ways to see so many great clubs in the second league at the minute, to be honest. Obviously, our clubs as well, Peter, Kaiserslautern and Nuremberg. Obviously, we'll be heading over to Nuremberg to watch the second header, the second leg of that tie in a couple of weeks as well, won't we? So, I mean, obviously, it is sad. And obviously, Hertha BSC, there's so many. Hanover 96 too are obviously down there, but it seems as though none of them are going to get back up. As obviously, as things stand, it's St. Pauli and I think Hamburg who are second now. But it's so scrappy up there at the top of the Zweite Liga that nobody really knows who's going to see it through and get promoted this year. But yeah.
There's nothing wrong with great Zweite Liga action. And I think that, what remains great about Germany is that, and we've covered some of the fan protests against a DFL investor in some of our recent vlogs, and there'll be more of that to come as we try to show you how committed the German fan scene is to not having outside money mess with the 50+1 principle. What's great about being a German football fan, in my admittedly highly biased opinion, is that no matter how bad the club is, I mean, there's no Schalke fan who wants an outside investor to come in and rescue this club. None. I mean, there's no, and the Bremen fans are not necessarily happy about the additional investment that their club got. I mean, there's been protests from them. Schalke famously said, we don't want Clemens Tönnies or his money, his meat packing money involved in our club and things like this. German fans, win or lose, they're going to back the club to remain fan-owned and remain without outside investor influence. Now, we can all debate whether or not this new DFL investor deal really does threaten 50+1, because if you look at the nuance of it, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, there's a lot of guardrails and protections, to keep these investors from having undue influence. But even if influence is restricted in a responsible manner, German fans are still quite suspicious of it. Of course, German fans are going to protest. It doesn't matter that they, what it means. We're going to protest every Saturday. That's what we do. But it's, performance matters, but not as much as keeping German football as pure as possible. And any German supporter of any club, no matter how bad they're doing, will tell you that. And you know that well, Mark, and hopefully, as we continue to show some of the Bundesliga fan scene in our vlogs, we'll get that message across to people who are interested in becoming Bundesliga fans as well, because it really is a fan-centric football league. Always has been, always shall be.
Yeah, it's definitely something that doesn't get reported enough, really, in the continental press, because, I mean, it is something that, to me, this is something that's at the core of what German football is. The fan ownership. It probably is German football, basically. It's more important than performance, more important than players and coaches. The fact that this club represents the community and things, and I think you said it, Peter. You said, like, people in towns like Kaiserslautern, they see it as a duty to go and watch the team. Like, basically, it's basically like the club is so deep in the community that this is like, oh, just as Leverkusen, oh, he's missed it. What a chance, massive chance. Paddy Schick has missed an absolute sitter. It's gone out for a corner. It was another save from Nubo, but my God, how's he not scored that, really? He had acres of space to pick his spot, and he just smashed it straight at Nubel. But that would have been a similar situation to what happened in Stuttgart as well, when Leverkusen equalised very early into the second half that day. Just as the corner comes in, but it's gone out of play. But wow, what a chance. Paddy Schick, Peter.
He had Anton on his back there. It's possible that Anton might have gotten a touch on the ball in there. I'll have to take a look at the replay. But yeah, well, it was a good break from Schick. He was onside there. It was excellent timing from him. First touch wasn't the greatest, but yeah, you're right. He probably had time. I don't know, with Anton on his back like that, he probably didn't have time to take another touch. But the finish needed to be better. You're absolutely correct. It's fair to call that a sitter. I'm just watching the replay here. Yeah, first touch heavy, and he didn't really have time to get a second touch in there. Not with Anton rushing back like that. So he had to fire off immediately. And
great play from Florian Wirtz too, who has improved with the back end of the first half and also with that play as well. He has started to get involved a little bit more, which is vital for Leverkusen. But yeah, I mean, we are starting to see Leverkusen probably the last 5-10 minutes of the first half and the start of this as well. We are starting to see them create a few more chances, aren't we? And, key players are starting to get better. It is going to be such an interesting second half, this, I don't see any immediate tactical changes, Peter. I don't know whether you've seen anything yourself, but seems to be more of the same, but just Leverkusen seem to be a little bit more patient at the minute and, showing a little bit more quality than what they did in the first half.
I do think that Wirtz has worked a couple more deep drops on the Bayer charges.
1-1. It's Robert Andrik has curled a beauty into the top corner. Can you believe it? Finally beating Nubel, who's had a great game, but what a finish. And I've just mentioned that they are starting to play better. The passing and movement is carving Stuttgart open for the second time there. It's a great finish, curled into the top corner. You could see it was going in the second he hit it. And the 1-1 has been achieved early in the second half, just as it was in the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Although it does appear to be quite a poor. The cross came in from the side from Grimaldo, and it's poorly cleared out by, I think, Anton, was it? But the clearance is just booted into the top corner, basically, by Andrić, who can hit a shot, by the way. It's not the first time he's ever done that, ironically. But it was an amazing finish, Peter, that one.
Absolutely. And I think, was it Rualt who got a poor touch on the clearance, or was it Schiller? I think it was Rualt. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, you're gonna have to you have to punt it if you're gonna clear from that range. I don't know what he was trying to do or who he was trying to touch it to, but what a finish that was by Andrić. Absolutely. Not necessarily known as the most technical player, but very well done in that top corner.
It was an amazing finish.
Absolutely no chance for Newbald. I mean, he was there at full stretch. As we see shots of the Nordkurve, we had a guest on, Alexander Sok of the Werkself Daily website a couple of weeks ago there with Rory, and he had some fine words about what it's like to be in the stands with the Leverkusen Ultras. And you can see some great, absolutely. The Nordkurve there is rocking. We got some pyro going. We got the just jumping. I don't think anybody sat down yet, and nobody stopped hopping yet. I mean, that's what German football fandom brings you. Absolutely, that you can't get anywhere else. Well, you can, but not week in, week out for people who support the club through thick and thin. Well, I'm having shades of deja vu. I don't know about you. This reminds me a lot of that league watchalong where Leverkusen are back and they're playing an excellent second half. It does look to me like Wirtz is sitting very. Xabi does this sometimes. It's really, I mean, the way he moves Xhaka around as his main puzzle piece. You can probably see, if anybody has access to an overhead, you can see that off the ball, Xhaka is up challenging to generate turnovers and get the ball off of Stuttgart. And Wirtz is floating around doing his things. Wirtz been silky smooth. Love his persistence on the play that was leading up to the first chance that Leverkusen scored. And he was actively involved in the second one. What time frame? What are you at? Are we still about a minute? I'm about a minute behind you.
I'm on 52. Just as a great quick throw there. Oh, geez. Schick again losing the ball there. Well placed. He's not having his best day here. Let's say that much. But as for Leverkusen, there was a free kick just from Undav just a minute ago. Although Schlager plays an advantage there, which looked like a free kick this time to Stuttgart, but it's been given as a play on. Oh, and it's great play again. Oh, no, it's well defended in the end by Leverkusen. Oh, he's played it off for an offside by the look of it in the end. An offside was given there against Leverkusen. But, I mean, there was a free kick for Stuttgart a minute ago, which was well cleared the bar by Undav. But, I mean, overall, Leverkusen are just completely dominant in the second half so far, Peter. And wow, the scenes from the Ultras looks absolutely amazing. I mean, Leverkusen scents blood right now, and they will feel as though, during this spell, they'll be able to take the lead and go on to get their name in the hat for the semi-finals, Peter.
Yeah, looks like, I mean, we'll have to wait for the draw with Lautern, Leverkusen, and there's the offside there. That was an excellent quick throw from Wirtz, who has been absolutely shot out of a cannon. Xabi found the right words for him in the dressing room. That much is true. And there is the Nordkurve with a nice coordinated, in Germany, we don't do the slow thunderclap. That's, what
too mainstream for Germany. Just as a poor clearance there. Once again, Stuttgart are on the attack here. Oh, good play from Furyk to keep the ball. Oh, but he's easily heralded behind by Tapsoba, who seems to have kind of recovered from a poor start to the game, back into Bundesliga action. He does well there to hold Furyk out, and he just kind of falls over and the ball goes out for a Leverkusen goal kick. But yeah, I mean, what a game we got on our hands here, because Stuttgart won't go away. On the break, they will remain a threat. And Leverkusen are having a few issues, like giving away poor balls, and they win the ball back again. This time, again, it's Furyk. who's a dangerous start to that, but he can overplay it a little bit sometimes, Furyk, and he's lost the ball a couple of times in key positions. As now Leverkusen break through Wirtz. It's out wide to Frimpong.
I'd like to give maybe a shout out to Fabian Wohlgemuth for the manner in which he signed so many of these Stuttgart players to contract extensions this year. Führich was the latest. And of course, they all have release clauses. And Guirassy, I think Balam was mentioning Guirassy's release clause. You know, what they did when they signed him permanently just before the relegation playoff last year is they gave him release clauses, but they had tight expiration dates on them. So I think both in the autumn and in January, they both expired without the right offer. Oof. Yeah. Well, that's pretty decent penetration there from the
play for Frimpong, wasn't it? That?
Yeah. Who's also vastly improved in the second half.
Yeah.
I don't know who calmed him down. Maybe it was Robert Andrich.
Yeah. Oh, maybe it was. You're right. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I told him that Andrich needed to get stuck into them, and he bangs him one into the top corner to make it a little bit easier for himself. But yeah, this is one hell of a game now, really. I mean, Stuttgart are not going away. They've had a few shots since the 1-1, but nothing really dangerous. But they are winning the ball deep into the Leverkusen half at times, and it's just a fascinating watch now. And Paddy Schick again, there probably you'd expect better position, although it's been given a corner, by the way. That shot from Wagnerman, which was well over, must have taken a nick, and the Stuttgart got a corner near the travelling fans, who seem to have travelled in good numbers as well, there in the far corner. Oh, jeez. Oh, God, it looked like a shot on target. The corner defending has been poor tonight from Leverkusen, really, and it was almost another big chance there. And it ended up being good last-ditch defending, but has it been given as a foul there? Jeez, yeah. It was, again, Anton who had 2 bites at the cherry there, and, could easily have ended up giving Stuttgart a shot lead again there, Peter.
Leverkusen have always been two-faced when it comes to set pieces. The defending is oftentimes, the marking is oftentimes poor. I think that, there might be some balancing issues there within Xabi's regimen, because they focus so much on the attack-minded dead balls and probably spend a lot of time drilling those particular dead balls, and sometimes marking is lacking. It's been that way all season. If I may contribute a minor criticism to Xabi there, I don't think that he deserves major criticism for that. It's also down to the players, maybe not necessarily focusing as they should.
Oh, big chance. Oh, Stuttgart 2-1. Incredible. It's Führich. They've lost the ball again deep into the half, because they've done that 4 times since the 1-1. This time they've been made to pay, and it's the celebrating fans who go crazy behind that goal. Wow, it seems as though, and it's Andrich, by the look of it, it's Andrich who actually gave the ball away. So incredible. I mean, it's a great finish by Führich as well, who got the ball out from his feet, and it's the 3rd goal today that's hit the top corner there as well. No keeper's no chance. And it's Andrich who's overran it, and the ball goes out to Undav, I think it was, and then Führich finishes well, top corner. No, it was Wagnerman who initially, and then Undav, and then a brilliant finish from Führich, and it's 2-1, Peter. Wow. What a game. What an encounter.
Ooh. What do you think about Kovar's pass there? What do you think about his decision to go?
Yeah, I think he kind of played him into danger, and that is something we've mentioned a little bit in this game, isn't it, Peter? The fact that Kovar hasn't looked very good. I'm not sure he's done enough to kind of cement a position ahead of the game at the weekend, really, for me. I think he's playing out from the back has been poor, and I'll be surprised if we see him line up against Bayern on Sunday on the back of this performance. But yeah, I mean, Stuttgart, I mentioned before, the pressing deep into the half has been really impressive as well at times, and they have got dividends from that now. And, Führich with a brilliant, it's the 3rd great finish of the game, by the way, just as Leverkusen already back on the attack. I mean, we've got a hell of a cup tie on our hands now. 2 very, very good football teams who are both playing well right now. Like, this is incredible to watch. I'd recommend anyone who's got a TV in the house has got to try and do whatever they can to get this one on, because, I mean, keep us on the commentary, of course, but even if it's a dodgy online stream or something, on some illegal side, do it, guys, because this is one hell of a game of football. Now, I mean, yeah. What can you say, Peter? Who's going to come out on top in this one?
I have no idea. I mean, this is excellent end-to-end action now, as both teams are really pushing for it. Both of them really want it. Both of them being spurred on by their respective fan sections as well. I think that that pass from Kovar is simply not good enough. I mean, the Xabi is going to catch some flack for going with a cup keeper after something like that. I mean, Andrich wasn't ready for it. And then Milo was the one who got the assist there on a fine finish by Führich. But I mean, he had a chance and he took it. As we see Tanta Keita, Rudi Völler in the stands, not looking too happy with his. I don't know if I've explained the Tanta Keita thing or anti-Kate. Rudi Völler is.
I think we mentioned it. Yeah,
we mentioned it because just like every German has a Auntie Kate, and I even have a German. I had a Auntie Kate, just like every Englishman has an Uncle Dave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is. It's fantastic. Yeah. Oh, just as Kovar almost gets caught again. Geez, he was put into an awful back pass there. It's Leverkusen starting to panic because Stuttgart have come out the better side after the 2-1, which might surprise a few people. I mean, the retaliation to the 1-1, Peter, has been absolutely world class from Stuttgart, and it's just showing what a very good football team they are. This is no fluke how well they're doing this season. They've not just strung together a few lucky results. This is a quality football team with quality players, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think that the press has been incredible. I mean, if you want to credit Stuttgart for something in this half, because Leverkusen have come out the superior side and they have looked more fluid, particularly in their short passing game and on the charge. But the Stuttgart press has been vehement. I mean, they are putting Leverkusen under so much pressure playing out of the back. That's how they forced Kovar into that error. So, I mean, Hoeneß has them. I mean, the press is not laying off at all. That's what's really, really impressive about this team is that they're absolutely they're not sitting back at all. And it's not a 5-4-1. I mean, last time I got a look at the overhead, it looked like a 3-4-3 to me. It's a pretty hard 3-4-3 press as we see the first substitution of the match, and it will be Leveling coming on for Milo, which could have several connotations. We know that Undav has been moved out to the wing, with Leveling serving as the lead striker before. That could shake things up a little bit.
Yeah. Obviously, he did take a knock in the first half as well, Mio. So I guess that's one of the reasons. But yeah, Stuttgart are playing the better football. I mean, they've come out the better. Oh, there's a great ball again. Oh, what a block from Hincapié. He played the ball through the back there to Undav, and he unleashed the shot. He looked good to score, but it's a great covering tackle from Hincapié there. Wow. Stuttgart, and now they've got another corner, and we know what's happened with the last 2 or 3 corners in this match. So things looking very good for the away side. Wow, some of the scenes from that away, probably the whole Cannstatter curve will be there in the Bayer Arena tonight. I'm pretty sure of that. And the corner is going to come in from Stiller again. They have caused problems from these corners in recent times. Although this one's straight into the hands of the beleaguered Kovar, who throws the ball very quickly. And says, wow, what a throw that is. And now they're away the other side. Leverkusen come one-on-one. Oh, but it's great covering defense. Oh, jeez. Oh, the block in the end. They get the shot away through Hoffman. But wow, Kovar, maybe that's why he's in the team after all. Like his anticipation there to throw it fast. Wow, that was brilliant. I mean, Schick just didn't quite have the pace, and there is going to be a double sub as well, and it's Schick that's going to be withdrawn. He looks absolutely knackered, basically.
Ooh, that's going to be
Iglesias Quintas who's going to come on. So this is going to be the first time we see him on a watch-along. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do. And Hofmann is also going to come off by the look of it. I'll let you know who comes on. It's Adli, obviously back from the AFCON with Morocco in his first appearance since then. Oh, there's a corner comes in. Wow, Peter, I don't know what. This is definitely the best watch-along we've ever done, the best match we've seen on a watch-along. And Stuttgart are away now. Wow, it's Führich. Oh, brilliant tackle, though. Brilliant tackle from, was it Xhaka there? It was Xhaka. And now Leverkusen are away. This is just one hell of a match now, Peter. Ooh. Yeah, sorry, Peter. I think you went off for a minute there. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, this is a match that's really starting to catch fire now, and I don't know what to say anymore. I'm out of breath, I think. Yeah. But it was Florian Wirtz who broke away, and he did well, but he's not like the paciest player at times, and he dribbled past a few players there. But this is just crazy at the minute. Really, it really is. It's just Florian Wirtz has been unbelievable this second half, really.
Absolutely.
And it's just, there's so many players on form right now. Stuttgart come forward again. They want the third goal as Undar puts the ball in, but it's just about dealt with by a mixture of Hincapié and Frimpong. But there's going to be more goals in this. I'm pretty sure of that. I don't believe this finishes 2-1. Really, there's going to be minimum another goal or two in this one, Peter.
I certainly hope so. That is, I'm glad you brought. Yeah, I imagine you are quite out of breath. I was offline for a moment there. It looks like, but I've caught up with everything now on the replays there. The Wirtz quick counter that was sparked by Kovar and that excellent defending by Führich. Yeah, we're going end to end here. I mean, it almost seems as if both sides have been reduced to 10 men. It's given the scene here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Leverkusen have just thrown, in English we say, in the UK we say they're throwing the kitchen sink at Stuttgart at the minute, but obviously that means that Stuttgart are getting more space than they've had the whole game through the back. So basically, yeah, I mean, as a great ball comes through again, and is it Adli 1-on-1? It's 2-2. It's 2-2. Was he onside though? But it's a great finish from. Wow. And the ball comes through. It's Florian Wirtz again with the ball through. And it seems a bit of not the best goalkeeping from Nubel in this situation. It was straight at him, but it went underneath his body. There doesn't seem to be any questions about an offside, so it looks as though we're level again. Amina Adli, Peter.
Well, I'm watching the play develop right now. It was Wirtz. Oh, good Lord. What a through ball that was. Oh, and he picked him out, telegraphed. Nubel has to do better. I mean, he did not cut a fine figure there. I mean, that's okay. Granted, that's very, very difficult to defend against when you have Amin Adli sprinting at you there. But Ito's marking. Yeah, Ito needed to do better. And Adli, look, this is a player that I think, we were not expecting him to develop the way that he did. The former French youth international who only recently switched to Morocco and partook in Afghan. He is an amazing talent. Look at that. Oh, excellent first touch. Hey, he scores with his second touch. Okay. Wow. I'm going to cut some slack to Nubel and Ito there because it was just his second touch that he took the shot with. Oh my goodness. He is wow. I mean, this was a player who flew in under the radar. He still doesn't have a regular role in the starting 11 nailed down, but he has an excellent reputation, a much-deserved reputation as a super sub, or as an Überjoker, as Germans might call him. But absolutely, wow. What a game. What an absolute cracker of a game.
Florian Wirtz almost played him in again there. But I mean, this second half, he's gone from being pretty anonymous for probably the first 30, 35 minutes to just being ridiculous since then. Truly ridiculous, really. And this is two unbelievable teams. I mean, Leverkusen, are they ever going to lose, really? Because, I mean, the amount of spirit they've shown. The fans, literally the whole stadium's on its feet right now. And it's just incredible, really. I mean, this game has, been one of the best I've seen in a long time, possibly the best of the season so far.
Wow, that's what you get in a Pokal tie. I mean, this is really. Oh, and now we're going to see Mo Dahoud come on.
Wow, that is interesting.
That is interesting. We'll see what Sebastian Hoeneß can do for Dahoud. Nadia Mamiri is a player whom we were talking about at the halftime break for Mainz. He's thrust directly into a leadership role. He could potentially revive his German national career if he continues to get playing time and continues to Does
Leverkusen come again? Oh, sorry, it's blocked though in the end. More brilliant play from Wirtz, who's just been abnormal this half. That's all I can say.
God, yeah. He is. Oh God, yeah. Well, everybody knew from the beginning. When I started working for Bully News 2020, And Wirtz was just 17 then. He had just come on. He had just made a debut in the end of the 2019-20 campaign, but we knew he was something different immediately. As a matter of fact, if I can, it's been a little while since I brought out a prop, but that was the kicker this week, led with Junger Meister, Jamal Musiala and Florian Wirtz, the two the future of German football, and probably our only hope for the Euros if Nagelsmann's smart enough to play them on the second axis in one of his 4-2-2-2s. Anyways, I got off tangent there. We got substitutions to catch up on here. You're ahead of me, right?
Yeah, Mittelstadt, I think probably through just being exhausted, has come off for Sturgeon, who obviously started the game in Freiburg midweek. At the weekend, I should say. So that's the latest sub. But yeah, I mean, players are getting tired, basically. You know, this second half has been like running a 10,000 meter sprint, basically, because I think both sides have just been. It's been basically there and back the entire half. You know, Furyk has been another player who's having an absolutely brilliant second half as well. Really, like, he's done so much good for the team. But yeah, that's the latest sub. Obviously, we've seen quite a few subs as well. There's still 20 minutes to go in this game. We've still got loads of time for another 4 or 5 goals. Yeah, but yeah. I mean, the whole game has been good, but the second half has been probably the best I've seen this season, in truth, in any football game. So the Pokal never fails to deliver. It truly is, in my opinion, nowadays the best domestic cup competition, really. It's overtaken the FA Cup because teams go for it full throttle, you know, right from the beginning. And it's just, you know, no replays, just one-off matches, extra time and penalties. And it's just one hell of a tournament. You know, we saw 2 brilliant ties last week between Pauli and Düsseldorf, and then obviously Hertha and Kaiserslautern. But this one has trumped everything so far. Maybe not for Peter, but yeah. It's been one hell of a match, and I'm pretty much out of breath. I'm going to let you do a bit of talking now, Peter, because I'm getting tired.
Okay. Some observations that I can make here. I mean, Xhaka is again high up on the press there, so it's sort of it's a pocket 3-4-3 off the ball for Leverkusen. Wirtz is on the left with Adli on the right. That was a straight swap for Hoffmann, as far as I can tell. Difficult to ascertain what's going on with the Stuttgart formation at the moment. I know that he's trying to execute a shift, but there's been a few stoppages, and there's been, you know, it's tough because they're doing a lot of lateral passing there in light of the Leverkusen press. May I get a dig in at Iglesias, who looks like he's been digging into some of those empanadas. A bit much. I'm not quite sure he looks fully fit and ready for action. Well,
to be honest, it's by the sound of it, he's had a lot of time to spend on the bench at Real Betis. So maybe he's had enough time to do all that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, he's not looked up to the pace so far at all of this game. And to be honest, I'm not sure many people will be up to the pace of this match, because it is an extremely fast pace. Was that? Okay. I don't know. Maybe it was my bad eyesight, but it kind of looked like a handball there from Stuttgart, but nothing's been claimed or given. Probably just me getting tired. But yeah, what a match, really. Stuttgart are going nowhere, but I think the next 10 minutes is going to be massive. I feel as though if Leverkusen do get the lead in this match, I don't think they'll relinquish it, Peter.
I mean, there's no way of predicting where this match is going to go at this juncture. I mean, we have got so much play on the breaks. I want whatever the hell Florian Wirtz is drinking, whatever the hell they gave him at the half, because he is not running out of gas at all. And on the other side, as you mentioned, Chris Führig seems to be, I don't know what he's drinking as well. If he's drinking the blood of our firstborn or something, because he's playing like a man possessed and doesn't seem to be anywhere close to running out of gas. So Stergiu, okay, I'm trying to see if I can get an overhead tactical feed here to see what Hoeneß is.
Just as Iglesias actually has a shot, great play from Frimpong as well to cut the ball back. Iglesias just kind of stood still and smashed it over the bar. But it looked like good movement, to be fair. He did well to anticipate the ball back from Frimpong. And that's probably the first we've really seen from him in this match, and maybe even in a Leverkusen shirt, really. I don't remember him doing much against Darmstadt, really.
Yeah, he barely got touched on the ball in Darmstadt there. Oh, there's Frimpong. And, well, there's not a bad effort from Iglesias, to be fair. I mean, it was a decent cutback from Frimpong. I think it took a deflection. Iglesias flashes over, but not by much. Maybe less than a meter over the crossbar there. Have a nice, interesting choice of facial hair there. If he needs to maybe drop a couple pounds of beard weight.
He looks like a massive guy, though, to be fair. I mean, the Spaniards are not known to be the biggest guys, but he looks enormous on the pitch. Yeah. I don't know if he is too much BFA or just whether he's really, really tall, but he's definitely not built like your stereotypical Spaniard.
Yes, that much is true.
He makes Schick look like a midget, to be honest, on the TV anyway. Just as Stuttgart come forward again, they get in on the byline. Oh, Wagnerman can't quite pull the ball back in, though. Quite a poor ball in the end from well placed. If he could have got that ball in, then Die Werkself would have been in a bad position there. But Stuttgart are not going away in this game, really. You know, I mean, Leverkusen are clearly the dominant side at the minute. But we said that at 1-1, didn't we? And next thing we knew, Stuttgart went 2-1 ahead and then dominated the next 5-7 minutes after that. So it is such an interesting match, this really. But I mean, Frimpong is getting a lot of space there down the side too. Frimpong is starting to really dominate his fullback, and it seems as though the application of Sturgeon has not really worked so far. I guess Mittelstadt only went off because he was probably exhausted, basically, because Sturgeon seems to be struggling a little bit, Peter.
Well, Sturgeon's playing on the right, whereas Mittelstadt was on the left.
It's Ito, sorry. It's Ito who's struggling. Is it Ito who's moved in the position for him? It seems
Ito can play left. They have Ito. He can play as a makeshift left back, but I don't know. It's difficult to tell whether or not Hoeneß is trying to do a back three here. As I said, I mean, I'm getting all sorts of looks on the tactical feed. It might be the case that there isn't really much of a match plan at the moment, aside from, I mean, moving Ito left to take the place of Mittelstadt, because Sturgeon is different. Sturgeon, Leonidas Sturgeon, good King Leonidas
is a proper Greek name if there ever was.
Absolutely, is definitely on the right, but it's hard not to see this going into extra time at this point, because you have to realistically ask how much. I mean, after all, at the end of the day, Florian Wirtz and Chris Führich, I mean, they are human. I mean, they can't possibly keep up this superhuman, boundless performance. Wagnerman is on the freaking left too. Good God, what is going on here?
Yeah. They want extra cover. I think that's what it is, because I think they've been getting a lot of play down that left side. Just as Führich again, great play from him. Oh, geez. Oh, what a save. It was a big chance from Undav. Amazing play again from Führich, who's had a stormer of a half, and it's really good play from Undav to get away from Xhaka, I think it was, to get the shot off, but it's well saved by Kovar. He's not made that many saves in this match, but he made a good one there, just as we're going to see another couple of substitutions, I think, in the game. It's going to be unfortunate, or this is a bit of a blow, but Führich is going to come off. I think he's run himself into the ground. And that's somewhat surprising to me, because he didn't look tired, but maybe he is more tired than he looks. But he is going to be withdrawn here in the game, and I'm not sure who's going to come on. Let's just wait and see for that one. It's going to be Dahoud who's coming on, actually, which is obviously a big coup, really, for Stuttgart to sign Dahoud, because a player that was always respected and rated very highly at Dortmund, a player that was part of their first-team setup for 4 or 5 years, didn't quite make the grade at Brighton for some reason, but I guess a lot of players struggle to keep up with the pace of the Premier League more than anything. So he's going to be on. Peter, are you a little bit surprised to see the end of Führich in this match?
Yeah, and I never was able to make heads or tails of what Hoeneß was trying to do with that last set of tactics in between the two substitutions there. Might have been the case that there was, as I said, there was no plan. I mean, there was just sort of a push there. And now maybe he formats back, because Dahoud is known primarily as a defensive midfielder. He doesn't really play high up. So, yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on there. I mean, he had Sturgeon all the way up there on the wing. It looked like Wagnerman was on the left. I couldn't tell if it was a back three or back four. Looks like Wagnerman's still on the left. And Sergiu's still on the wing. Dahoud is leading the press now. Oh man, I don't know what. This is either something very avant-garde or just throwing everything at the wall and seeing if it'll stick. I mean, by the way, kitchen sink is an American slang phrase as well. It's quite a common one. But yeah, Jesus. Oh man!
Yeah, just as the corner, they're going to Leverkusen win a corner as well from Grimaldo. It was a poor piece of play from Wagnerman losing the ball there, but just as the 80-minute mark comes up as well, we're going to see a corner. And we've seen, as you mentioned before, Peter, Leverkusen concede goals from corners, but they also get goals from corners. So let's see, this Grimaldo comes in, and it was a good one, but well defended. I think by Sturgeon, actually got the header in there ahead of the Leverkusen man, but. Yeah, I mean, it depends what we're going to see. Are we going to see a big push in this last 10 minutes, or are we going to see, both teams kind of accepting extra time? It's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, both teams have still got a couple of substitutions as well in the bank. So just looking at a few of the players that are still on the bench that we're likely to see. Potentially Hlozek might come on, although he's never really done it. Teller, I would imagine we'll definitely see Teller at some point after a great.
I'm surprised we haven't seen Teller yet. I mean, the score of a brace from, that sort of makeshift right wing back role. You guys did, really well to praise him in yesterday's show. And that was, quite the breakout star we have there. Nigerian, who many people thought would take Victor Boniface's place on the Super Eagles side at AFCON. I was kind of surprised not to see him called up when Boniface went down. But yeah, well, maybe, I guess, could be the case that we're going to extra time here. This is one of those matches that, you try to concentrate on the tactics of it, but it's impossible because not only are they all over the place, but this is a game that you absolutely want to watch with emotions. You want to, if you don't want to necessarily strain and stretch and stare too much at the tactical game here, because it's an emotion driven game. And, not everybody's a fan of rewatching live sports, but I am, because I like to go back and have another look and maybe digest what was going on tactically. I might just give up and throw my hands up in terms of tactical analysis at this point and say I'll deal with that tomorrow over a cup of coffee. So
it will be interesting to see what the XG is in this game as well, because it has been that kind of match, hasn't it? It's been two very good teams going hammer and tong at one another, and it's just to watch it has just been brilliant. But I do think that the next 10 minutes is going to be really interesting. Do both of these teams want to push? The other thing you've got to remember as well, Peter, is Leverkusen have got Bayern Munich on Saturday night as well. Do they want to risk any potential injuries and like burnout and things? Yeah, there you go, ready to rumble. Yeah. Well, after this one, we're all definitely ready to rumble. Yeah, you've got a question, will Leverkusen want to kind of risk that? But I guess they want to stay in the cup. They want to stay unbeaten. So, I don't think they're going to do anything stupid and go gung-ho in this one all of a sudden. Although to an extent, it has been gung-ho the whole second half, really, hasn't it? So, what would you say, Peter? Do you expect to see both teams be a little bit more conservative now, or do you think they're going to go for it and avoid extra time?
Leverkusen are going to go for the win. I don't think there should be any question about that. The way that the Pokal has shaken out this year, with so many top-tier sides eliminated by the quarterfinal stage. We had two Pokal fixtures last midweek, but very few people noticed because none of the four teams involved were in the top flight. I have another prop for you. Pokal Helden, Lautern, and I'm saving this, okay? This is not the recycling bin. Lautern and Düsseldorf. This is their best chance to win the DFB Pokal in years, because if they get past Stuttgart, the only other top tier Bundesliga side that's alive is Gladbach, who play tomorrow night against Saarbrücken. Saarbrücken being the team that upset Bayern, also the team that made it all the way to the semifinals in 2020 and lost to Leverkusen because of the pandemic, because Saarbrücken were a fourth tier side at that time. and the fourth tier was suspended. So Saarbrücken made it all the way to the semifinals, and they had to play Leverkusen despite the fact that their players had no match practice. I mean, the Bundesliga, the top tier, resumed with Geisterspiele, but the Saarbrücken in the Regionalliga, they had no match practice. You felt so horrible for them. They made it all the way to the semifinals. Their fans couldn't enjoy it. The players couldn't celebrate and commemorate it. This was, I mean, what a story that would be if Saarbrücken knocked off Leverkusen in a rematch of the one that we saw 4 years ago. That would be something, really. And look, Saarland, they love their football too. It's not far from Lautern. When you and I went to go visit the Betze, we met some friends and family, and including a guy, one of the football players that we met, the son of Marcus, who commutes from the Saarland 40 minutes to watch Lautern every weekend and buys a new tricot every time it's time to go to the stadium. So those people, I mean, they're crazy about their football in the Saarland as well. That would be really something special. Of course, they're going to go for the win here. This is their best chance to shed Vizekusen, to shed the Leverkusen mantle. He's never won anything. Ever.
Yeah, I mean, it is, as you say. I mean, you'd imagine that they've got a better chance, even from this position at 2-2 in the quarterfinal. They've got a better chance of winning this than the Bundesliga. Obviously, the Bundesliga, they've still got a great chance of winning it, but they've got Bayern Munich to worry about. That's the issue, you know. The perennial winners and, you know, Bundesliga stalwarts, FC Bayern Munich. But yeah, in this, basically, some people were even billing this as a final. I heard people do that online and in the media. They were billing this as a borderline final because people believe these two teams are so far ahead of the other 6 sides that lined up in the quarterfinals that, you know, everyone was saying. And to be honest, it's been worthy of a final as well. The game has not disappointed one jot, that's for sure. Just as Stuttgart are starting to look the better side in the last few minutes as well, although a really poor pass there from Anton gives the ball away poorly to Frimpong, who's had a strong second half as well. It was a great challenge from Wagnerman to win the ball back and a throw-in. But yeah, Peter, would you say that's a little bit premature? Obviously, as an FC Car fan as well, would you say it's a bit premature to say this is effectively a final, or do you think it's more or less a guarantee that the team that wins this tie will go on to win the Pokal?
Yeah, I began as a tournament football writer and hobby blogger, so for me, tournament football was how I got my start in reporting on football. And in every tournament, you have a quarterfinal or a semifinal that's worthy of a final. We had one. We've had those in the 2 tournaments that I've been covering, the AFCON and the AFC, the 2 continental championships. We were just like, does this have to be a quarterfinal? Does this have to be a final or a semifinal? Couldn't we be treated to this as the final match? So that's, it's always going to be the case in tournament football. That's why tournament football is so great, whether it's domestic cup or it's a continental championship, because that's what you get. Let's see. I mean, how is the FA Cup going? I mean, the other one is finished, right?
The League Cup, the final will be in a week or 2, I think. Yeah, okay. It's going to be Liverpool-Chelsea in that. Just as big chance. A great ball in, but it's well defended there, and it's going to be another corner. No, I think a throw-in for Leverkusen as we get to the 88th minute. But no, over in England, it's going to be the final of the League Cup or the Carabao Cup. It's going to be Chelsea-Liverpool. Okay. And then the FA Cup still, I think, in the last 32 or the last 16 yet. So there's still quite.
There's been some surprises recently, like didn't Everton get knocked out? I mean, Everton got knocked, but it's not really that much of a surprise nowadays. Also Arsenal are already out. Well, Arsenal-Liverpool played in the 3rd round, incredibly. The two of the big 3, and then also Tottenham. It was almost the winner there for Leverkusen. Adli, I think he looped a header, but it was great defending by Ito. The ball came over. I think it was Andrik, maybe. It's Ito gets to the ball first and brilliantly. No, it was Jonathan Tah who plays a beautiful ball in. It would have been Amine Adli to
win the game for the home side. But great defending from Ito to lead to a corner just as we get into the 89th minute. Now we're really into like winner takes all territory now. Next goal wins, as they would say in five-a-side in England. But yeah, the corner comes in. Ooh. Yeah, it's easily clear, but they recycle the ball well. Another good ball comes in. It really is a good ball. It's 3-2. Jonathan Tah with what looks to be the winner, and it's an amazing ball in from the recycled corner. The scenes in the Bay Arena at the moment are just incredible. Jonathan Tah, who almost played a brilliant ball in to win the initial corner, has headed home, and it doesn't look like there's going to be an offside in that one. I don't know who drifted the second ball in, but wow, it was an amazing ball. This time, Ito gets caught, and Jonathan Tah, just as we nip into 90 minutes, has headed it in, and maybe it could be a correct prediction for me there.
What a story that is. You know,
is he onside though? We're just checking. He is onside. It's Ito who saved the day initially. He's played on 4 Werkself men. He's basically done them there big time. And it's a great finish, to be fair, from the head. It's not an easy finish. It is Florian Wirtz who plays the brilliant ball, and who else? And it's smashed past Nubel. What a game, what a match. And Jonathan Tah, a man who's had a brilliant game, as he has done pretty much the whole season. What a game, what a goal.
What a story, because it was Jonathan Tah's defensive error that the last time Leverkusen were contending for the title in the 2019-20 season, they played FC Bayern München just before the Christmas break, and it was not the end of the Hinrunde. But Jonathan Tah made an error. He gifted Robert Lewandowski a goal, and Leverkusen never recovered from that. They were title aspirants that year, and they never recovered from that Jonathan Tah era. And his error was also, he went down in Leverkusen lore as the man who cost them the title. He also had a terrible year for Germany that year. You know, he was part of that 6-0 shellacking that the Spanish national team gave Jürgen Löw's side. And he dropped out of the national team. He was considered to be a player who was never going to reach his potential. And then last season, he started rounding into form, and he was linked with the Premiership move. You and I were talking about this on a previous watch along with Jonathan Tah. He just looks like a Premiership player, the way that he's built. He's like a big, he's another Per Mertesacker. He's a BFG. He's a big effing German. And and he decided, and despite all of the outgoing transfer links, he remained in Leverkusen. Jonathan Tah did. To stay in Germany, even though he wanted to go to the Premiership and everything. And this man has not only come back into form for club, but he's come back into form for country. He'll compete for the national team again as well. Jonathan Tah, the hero, man who cost Leverkusen the title back in 4 years ago, is now the one who shoots them into the semis.
And he's had an incredible game, as you say. I mean, he's had an incredible season, really, like as is pretty much every player for this side. I mean, what a second half from the home side. You know, it looks as though they've got there now, basically. It seems as though the away side of, struggling now. There's only about a minute left to play. There were only 4 minutes added on, surprisingly, considering there's been 4 goals in the half. But yeah, we know that Germany doesn't like crazy stoppages. We are going to see the end of Florian Wirtz, who's got himself 2 assists in this half and has just been absolutely ridiculous. Basically.
Can somebody check in on Rory and our good friend from VfB Stuttgart, Americana Travis as well? I mean, you feel bad for them because this was an incredible performance from the Württembergers as well, from the Swabians. They really, I mean, it's a shame that there had to be a winner out of this. Yeah. But I mean, you couldn't have written a better narrative if you want to talk about something going full circle. Last minute Kussen, that's not a bad line from Ballum as well. That that's just a nice, because it was a kissed finish. It was if you want to translate the German for Kussen, this should be it, right? You should be at full time.
Yeah. No, we still have a move here from. Oh wow. Oh okay. Oh, they got a shot on target from Undav as well. Probably with the last play of the match, they won a free kick. It was really well worked there, and it was a shot straight at Kovar in the end, but they still got a last shot in anger, so to speak. We are over the 4 minutes. Maybe another few seconds might be potentially added for the goal, because I think the goal went in more or less exactly on 90 minutes. So there might be another minute to come here. But yeah, I mean, Undava's not at his best night, but he's had a few shots. But yeah, the offside is now given against the team, and it looks as though we are going to get to the full time. But I mean, if anybody had doubts about Leverkusen before this game, and there weren't many, they'd already questioned most of the doubters. But I mean, this second half performance, has to be the final straw of the doubters now. And you know, obviously, the game on Saturday will be the absolute final straw. If they can win that game, then nobody will be questioning them anymore. But can
you do a decent Michael Buffer? You know who Michael Buffer is, right? He's the one who does the ready to rumble. I don't know. I mean, I suppose that, I mean, they're big English boxers like Lennox Lewis and things like that. So you have Michael Buffer, who goes to England and gives you this, let's get ready to rumble.
The
guy is overpaid for what he does. Obviously, I would not pay that guy, $1 million to say, let's get ready to rumble, when I could do so myself in any boxing match. But
as the whistle goes, the final whistle is gone, and it's the final whistle on VfB Stuttgart's Pokal dream. But you know, the team of the year in Europe, let's be honest, have now made it 30 games unbeaten in all comps. They're into the semi-final of the cup, where they'll face either Peter's Kaiserslautern. I keep mentioning it, Peter, but I want you to enjoy, you know, the fact that your team have gone so far. Obviously, Dusseldorf as well, or potentially Saarbrücken or Borussia Mönchengladbach. But Peter, I mean, what can we say about this game? For me, the best game I watched this season in any competition. I just think it was amazing. And both teams, for me, this is the best two teams in the Bundesliga to watch right now, really. I just love both of them. It is sad we had to see a winner. You know, we've been deprived of 30 minutes extra of this entertainment as well. But, I mean, it is an amazing final story. Jonathan Tah, a man who's been through so much the last, few years, goes on to score what could potentially be the goal that, makes Bayer Leverkusen big favourites to finally end that Leverkusen tag.
Well, long live football, as I have to say. I don't know if anybody else has that catchphrase trademark, but that's how I always used to close my favorite chapters of my blog when I first started writing about football. Long live football, up the German Bundesrepublik. I'm so glad that so many people joined us this evening. If you didn't have a chance to catch a live stream, don't miss out on the highlights here. I hope that whoever puts together the highlight reel doesn't skimp on the coverage, because there was so much more than these 5 goals here. I mean, this is a game worthy of a 10-minute highlight reel. I think that ESPN. We were talking about this with Roy. We need to check on this, because I don't know if ESPN UK, I think you can stream ESPN Plus, which means that you could watch this match in the UK with some of the best commentators around, including 2 that are friends that have been guests on this show, the great Derek Ray and Phil Bundesliga Bonnie. Somebody's got to get me clarification on that, because Roy was saying I can't stream in the UK, and I was like, I think you might be able to.
It's very, very picky, to be honest. Like, even DAZN, you can't get DAZN in the UK either, which when I first got DAZN, you could stream it in the UK, but now you can't. So it is a little bit complicated and all this stuff. And I think companies are wising up to the fact that people are using like streams more, and it's getting blocked by VPNs and things like that. That's it, by firewalls and whatever. So you can get VPNs to watch games, but again, that's more money and things. So I don't know what the situation is in the UK, but one thing I do know is that there's not enough games in the Bundesliga covered in the UK. And every time I go back, that's why I never go back, because I can't watch Bundesliga over there. I can't get my DAZN subscription to work, and there's normally like one game on a Sunday on Sky Sports, and the coverage is ordinary, to be honest. And you can't compare it to the likes of Derek Ray and Phil Bonnie over in the US, but.
But okay. If I have to DM these guys directly to get them to answer that question, I will. But I mean, I definitely think that. Look, I mean, if you're a football fan, the Bundesliga delivers this season. German football really delivers this season, not just in what we're seeing in the league, but also an unprecedented amount of upsets in the Pokal. Great storylines on and off the pitch. You know, if you haven't seen what German fan culture looks like, you can watch it, you know, week in and week out if you have access to the Bundesliga. But Mark and I are stitching together as many vlogs as we can to show you just how coordinated the ultras are, just how amazing the atmosphere in the stands is, just how great it is, you know, when everybody cheers, and how coordinated everything is, from the stadium announcer to how the ultras do their protests together. I mean, it's up the Bundesrepublik and the pride of the Bundesrepublik, our Bundesliga. Anything with Bundes in front of it, we're very, very proud of, except for the Bundesbahn as of late. They can.
I'll give you that one. I can back that one up for sure. But yeah, I mean, obviously the final score, Bayer Leverkusen 3, VfB Stuttgart 2. So that does mean that Leverkusen, after all that, are going to be involved in the draw for the last 4 as well, which I think will take place this weekend. Obviously, we've just got one team to wait for, which is going to be Saarbrücken or Gladbach, which I'm sure is going to be another amazing tie. I mean, a different kind of tie. Obviously, a third league team against, you know, a giant of German football. But it's going to be another interesting one on tomorrow evening. But yeah, Peter, any closing remarks there?
I'll just reiterate myself as all sports broadcasters the world over say, don't be afraid of repeating yourself. Up the Bundesliga delivers, and the Bundesrepublik has the best footballing beat in the world. Absolutely. Yeah. And I love the Premiership. I love to go to England. I love to make the pilgrimage to London, all of those things too. I nothing but respect for my friends on the Isle. Hope to hop over there soon, because it's been a little while since I've been. But yeah, don't miss out on the action on the world's best footballing beat, in my humble opinion.
Definitely. So, and if you enjoyed what you saw, then don't forget to check out our Twitter at @OverTheBar and at @OverTheBar Extra. We've got a bumper week for you as well this week. As you say, we had last night's review show, then tonight's watch along. Tomorrow, hopefully at some stage, the vlog will be going live. We're just waiting on a few final data there. Then obviously Thursday predictions, and Friday fantasy football as well. So don't miss a beat here at the Bundesliga show. Don't forget as well to like, comment, and subscribe, because we are growing at a decent pace at the minute, but we want to keep getting higher and higher. Don't forget also that we are not only a YouTube channel, we're also a podcast as well. So don't forget to check us out on Anchor. You'll be able to find a link to that in the description. So thank you very much, Peter. I need to catch my breath after that. But yeah, what a game, what a night. Viva la Bundesliga. See you later, guys.